Enter into a world unseen on Raven Star's Witching Hour. You will encounter eclectic topics from the realm of spirit brought into our matrix of truth. With your host, the Solaris Blue Raven, Solaris will bring you an array of unique guests covering topics from ghostly spirits to amazing anomalies, covert technology, UFOs, and shadowy global events.
And that's right here at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, Saturdays, midnight till 2 a.m. Eastern Time. Revolution Radio, where information never sleeps.
Let the magic rise.
Did you ever feel that things were not quite right? That everything was just ever so slightly askew?
Do you have, to paraphrase Morpheus, a splinter in your mind?
If you're interested in hearing the latest information about UFOs, the paranormal,
Ancient cultures and structures,
monatomic elements,
longevity,
fantastic discoveries in science,
downloaded to your brain,
then tune into us. Hi, I'm Dave.
and I'm Mackie.
And we are Shiny Side Out, Sundays 2 to 4 a.m. Eastern. See you then.
Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. You don't need to expect us. We're already here. All right. Thanks for listening while we took that short break here at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. And now we're going to get back to your host.
All right, it's 4 p.m. in the UK. Got a little bit of feedback, so I'm going to turn the volume down a little bit on here. Shouldn't be feeding back at 32 though. Not to worry, it's 4 p.m. in the UK. It's 11 a.m. on the East Coast in the States. It will be for a little while longer yet. We're starting the countdown towards winter, I think, though. It's been a bit colder. Well, it's not cold, but it's been a bit colder than it was, and it's a bit wetter than it was. So we're kind of edging towards September, and you can see it in the weather. Mind you, we needed it because it's been very hot over here. I'm in the north of England, in Newcastle upon Tyne, and it's been very hot, like late 20s up to about 30, 32 degrees at one point. And then it calms down and we have a thunderstorm and the air ionizes a bit and it cools down. And then we have a few days where it warms up again, and then another thunderstorm or another set of winds come in. I think we're getting the tail end of the hurricanes from the Caribbean, at least part of the time, because it seems like the wind went up a notch for a few hours a couple of days ago. So I think it's the tail end of a hurricane. But not to worry, the world's interconnected, and the weather systems are interconnected. The broadcasting systems are interconnected. The political systems are interconnected. The cultures are interconnected. So everything connects to everything else ultimately. We might not be directly connected to the Caribbean, but we're getting some of the same weather in a slightly different form. There's a connection. So the theme, roughly speaking, today is imagination creates reality again. And I'm interested in applying, say, the butterfly effect, the idea that small changes produce big shifts in consciousness or big shifts in situation or manifestation. That's what I'm interested in for the moment. That just comes out of the weather conversation, and the weather conversation is just something to start the show with. So where it goes, I'm not sure, but the butterfly effect's a real thing from my perspective, at least. I'm just going to say hello to the people in the chat room while I remember. We've got May Street, Captain Fred, Mona Radler's in there, Jer Bear's in there, Mr. Rowe was in there earlier on. Those are the people that are active at the moment. If you want to join the conversation, then go down to freedomslips.com or revolution.radio. And I'm guessing that I'm coming in loud and clear in May Street because you're responding to what I'm saying, so that's a good sign. Right, so the butterfly effect. The butterfly effect is the idea that a very small shift, in how you think about yourself can produce a very big shift about how other people think about you. So here's a thing it's worth experimenting with. Just a little thing to play with as an affirmation. And the affirmations I'm using at the moment are always start with I am. So I am prosperity, I am beauty, I am truth. Those are three that I've been using. And if you've got time and you've got the inclination, then try I am beauty. Because I am beauty will make a difference in the way people see you, in the way people perceive you, and in the way people speak to you, and the way people interact with you. So that one thing makes a big shift. If we're taking cause and effect, cause as being imagination and the effect as being the interaction with the world. My assumption is imagination creates reality. That's what I'm playing with as an assumption at the moment. It seems to be true enough when you're playing with it. Other things might be true if you were playing with other things, but for the time being, that's the one that I'm working with, or playing with, or whatever. So just that one small shift from I am prosperity to I am truth to I am beauty, whichever one you choose, there's an impact on the way you interact with the world. I'm buying shoes at the moment. I've never in my life bought so many shoes as I'm buying at the moment. I bought 5 pairs of shoes in the last 2 weeks, and I don't really understand why, but there'll be a reason. And I'm changing the way I look. I'm changing the way I look by changing the style of shoes that I'm wearing. As much as anything, it changes my character a little bit. And I've been ordering jeans, I've been ordering t-shirts, I've been ordering socks and underwear, all those things. So I'm reinventing myself from the shoes upwards. And I'm doing it with the assumption that imagination creates reality. And with the assumption that my interactions with the world are shifting, because I can see that now. I can see that very clearly. Okay, so that's kind of where we start. It's where we start at the moment. Let me have a look on YouTube and see if I can find some audio that will reinforce what I'm saying. So let's just give me 2 seconds for YouTube. Right, Ryan Dawson looks like he's got a live stream going on, but I'm not going to go there, I don't think, because that's not quite what we're looking at. Or some of the examples that I've been giving about how imagination creates reality in terms of the world. In the current situation, look at Event 201. Event 201 was put together last year, and it was a simulation. It was a rehearsal a mental rehearsal and physical rehearsal to some extent of a coronavirus pandemic. Now, that's just too much of a coincidence, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it was deliberate. It means that potentially imagination creates reality. So what people are preparing for, because they're frightened, might be the thing that manifests because they're frightened, because that's what's in underneath the preparation is fear. And fear is a big creative force in terms of people. So that's one of the examples that I was giving last week. Let me find some Neville Goddard and let him do some talking. Feeling is a secret. Okay, we'll do feeling is a secret again. I'm going to do, there's 3 different versions. So let me just go with Josiah Brandt because his version is pretty good. It's long, so I'm just going to pick the first 10 minutes or so. See how we get on. Oh, all right, so I don't think that was quite working the way I thought it was going to. So let's just change what we're doing a little bit. I'm guessing you can still hear me. Share screen again. There we go. We'll try again, see what happens. We haven't missed very much, so I'll just let it go back a tiny little bit.
And testimonials, and simply challenge the open-minded reader to practice the laws of consciousness as revealed in this book. Personal success will prove far more convincing than all the books that could be written on the subject. Neville. Chapter 1. Law and its operation. The world, and all within it, is man's conditioned consciousness objectified. Consciousness is the cause as well as the substance of the entire world. So,
All right, let's just take it from there, I think. All right, so consciousness is the cause and the substance of the whole world is basically what it's saying. That's the summary of it. And that's a profound thing if you think about it. That's a very profound thing because it means that my little bit of consciousness is the cause and the substance of the entire world, as well as everybody else's. If Neville Goddard's assumptions are accurate, which I think most of them, if not all of them, are from my work with what he's doing. But cause is mind or consciousness in this way of looking at the world. So that if you're looking for the cause on the outside, you ain't going to find it. But if you look inside, then you just might. And if I'm the cause of my world, that means that anything that appears in my world is reflecting something in my consciousness, and that's a thing that means that you need to take personal responsibility, that I need to take personal responsibility for everything in my world, which means all the people that annoy me, all the people that I dislike intensely, all the people that I think are sick bullshit merchants, all the people that I think are disturbed individuals, all of those people are reflecting something in my consciousness that either I need to sort out or I need to calm down a little bit or just kind of integrate a little bit more. So if I'm being disturbed by somebody, then there's something about that person that I haven't accepted in myself, in this way of thinking about the world. So I need to accept that thing in myself, and then I'll be able to accept the other person. So the acceptance piece is an important part of this. It's a very important part of this, but it's acceptance of self, and the imagination is imagination of self. So it's a balance to be struck between how much interaction you have with the world and how much you're creating the world. I haven't quite worked out what the balance is, but there's some kind of balance there that'll work in my favor and in everybody else's favor, and that's what I want to find. That's the sweet spot that I'm looking for. How long it's going to take me to find it, I really don't know. But I'm working on it, and I'm getting close enough that I know there's a sweet spot there, and close enough that I just need to tweak a few things. That's what it feels like to me anyway. I just need to tweak a few things around the edges, tidy things up a little bit. I've been ignoring my finances for years, so that's one of the things that I need to tidy up a little bit. And because I've been avoiding it for years, it's more difficult to get there. But I will in the end. and I'm just wondering if I can play that video on my phone and I know it's going to work. Let me just double check that there's a message on Skype for me. Let me unshare and have a look at the messages. All right, so we've had some technical issues, but we're not doing too badly. I'm gonna play the video on my phone, and then I know that it's happening. So again, it was worse last week. I couldn't get anything to work properly last week, so I just ended up reading from Wikipedia for an hour. But at least this way we get a little bit of Neville Goddard. I should just stick to using the phone really, because then I know it's going to work. So let's find it. Feeling is the secret. And we're doing Josiah Brandt, won't we? So let's do that again.
So it is to consciousness that we must turn if we would discover the secret of creation. Knowledge of the law of consciousness and the method of operating this law will enable you to accomplish all you desire in life. Armed with a working knowledge of this law, you can build and maintain an ideal world. Consciousness is the one and only reality, not figuratively, but actually. This reality may, for the sake of clarity, be likened unto a stream which is divided into two parts, the conscious and the subconscious. In order to intelligently operate the law of consciousness, it is necessary to understand the relationship between the conscious and the subconscious. The conscious is personal and selective. The subconscious is impersonal and non-selective. The conscious is the realm of effect. The subconscious is the realm of cause. These two aspects are the male and female divisions of consciousness. The conscious is male. The subconscious is female. The conscious generates ideas and impresses these ideas on the subconscious. The subconscious receives ideas and gives form and expression to them. Again, the conscious generates ideas and impresses these ideas on the subconscious. The subconscious receives ideas and gives form and expression to them.
So let's stop there for a second, because what he's saying is pretty much critical. So the way Neville Goddard works things, and the way that seems to work pretty well, is to seed an idea into your subconscious. And the way he suggests doing that is to get to a state that's almost sleep. So it's kind of a daydreamy state, or a just before you go to sleep state. So that's the point when you're seeding your subconscious. That's the creative point, where whatever you're thinking about yourself is gonna go into your subconscious and come out as a manifestation. So that's the point where you need to look at what you're thinking carefully, look at what you're feeling about yourself carefully, look at what you're feeling about the image you have of yourself, the perception you have of yourself, that's where you change it. It's just before you go to sleep, or in a kind of alpha state in meditation. So you get to a place of relaxation, count down from 5 to 1, focus on your breathing, let your breathing calm down a little bit and your body calm down a little bit, and then just seed the idea. And the idea that I've been playing with, there's a few, but the one I was playing with this week was I am beauty. So beauty as a philosophical concept is an idea that comes from the Greeks. There's a lot of discussion about aesthetics in philosophy, but this is a combination of beauty as a concept and the I am phrase, the being phrase. So being beauty is a current moment thing, and it's a personal thing, which makes it conscious, and it's a felt thing in your body, which makes it kinesthetic and physical. And that combination of things is the seed that goes into your subconscious. If you're feeling something physically, whether it's beauty or fear or anxiety or grief or whatever it is, that goes into your subconscious, and it becomes the steering mechanism, for want of a better phrase, for your manifestation, for your life in the next few days and weeks. And it's a critical thing to think about, is those few minutes, those few seconds when you're just starting to go off to sleep are absolutely critical, because those few seconds, those few moments are creative. That's what's creating your life. So if you get those right, the steering mechanism moves the angle. I'm using metaphors, but I don't know why I'm using this metaphor. The steering mechanism shifts the angle and the direction to a different direction. So then you're in a different place in your life. And it doesn't take very long. It might take a few days, but it doesn't take very long. And you can shift that again with the next time that you see it in your subconscious. This is how mantras work. It's repetition of a particular feeling or sense of union with God. It's the same idea. It's the mantra idea is very close to what Neville Goddard's saying here. Anyway, I'm rambling a little bit, so let's have a little bit more of Neville.
By this law, first conceiving an idea and then impressing the idea conceived on the subconscious, all things evolve out of consciousness. And without this sequence, there is not anything made that is made. The conscious impresses the subconscious, while the subconscious expresses all that is impressed upon it. Again, the conscious impresses the subconscious, while the subconscious expresses all that is impressed upon it. The subconscious does not originate ideas, but accepts as true those which the conscious mind feels to be true, and, in a way known only to itself, objectifies the accepted ideas. Therefore, through his power to imagine and feel, and his freedom to choose the idea he will entertain, man has control over creation. Again, through his power to imagine and feel, and his freedom to choose the idea he will entertain, man has control over creation. Control of the subconscious is accomplished through control of your ideas and feelings. The mechanism of creation is hidden in the very depth of the subconscious, the female aspect or womb of creation. The subconscious transcends reason and is independent of induction. It contemplates a feeling as a fact existing within itself, and on this assumption proceeds to give expression to it. Again, the subconscious contemplates a feeling as a fact existing within itself, and on this assumption proceeds to give expression to it. The creative process begins with an idea, and its cycle runs its course as a feeling and ends in a volition to act. Again, the creative process begins with an idea, and its cycle runs its course as a feeling and ends in a volition to act. Ideas are impressed on the subconscious through the medium of feeling. No idea can be impressed on the subconscious until it is felt. But once felt, be it good, bad, or indifferent, it must be expressed. Feeling is the one and only medium through which ideas are conveyed to the subconscious. Again, feeling is the one and only medium through which ideas are conveyed to the subconscious. Therefore, the man who does not control his feeling may easily impress the subconscious with undesirable states. By control of feeling, it is not meant restraint or suppression of your feeling, but rather the disciplining of self to imagine and entertain only such feeling as contributes to your happiness.
All right, we'll stop that there. So the manifestation piece of this is the feeling. The idea is kind of impregnating the feeling, for want of a better phrase. It's fertilizing the feeling, and then that becomes the external world. It becomes the external world that you see. There's all sorts of other external worlds that other people are seeing based on their feelings. So it's a filtering mechanism, or a directionality, or a level of consciousness, a state of being, if you like. All of these things are describing the same thing, but we don't really know exactly what the thing is at the moment. So I like state of being, though. State of being makes sense to me. Does that make sense to you? Where are we? Captain Fred and May Street. I'm assuming you've come across Neville Goddard before. If you haven't, then I'll just tell you what it is I was playing there. It's a book called The Feeling is the Secret, and I was playing the Josiah Brandt version, which is his channel on YouTube, and there's a lot of them. But Feeling is the Secret is short and snappy. It's an hour and 10 minutes long, an hour and 11 minutes long. And the language is clear and clean, and it's easy to understand. So there's no philosophical rambling going on with it. It's just clean, clear language. And it gets you to where you need to be. And that's really the point, I think, is to get to where you need to be. Right, so the feeling part of that is where all the stuff's hidden. That's where the fear and guilt and anxiety and anger and resentment and frustration and irritation and rejection of rejection of certain bits of the world. All of those things are hidden in the feeling. So whatever the feeling is, it's got a creative element to it. So the feeling is the earth, really. If your mind is producing the ideas that are seeding the earth, seeding into the feeling. So the key thing is to keep that creative area clean and free of extra bits and pieces that are byproduct, that will manifest as byproducts or unintended consequences, or whatever words you want to use. So the idea is to keep your sense of who you are clean and clear, and associating yourself with these concepts that I'm talking about: the beauty, the good, truth, justice is another one, courage, all these types of concepts. If you associate yourself with those things, then your idea of who you are is going to expand, and some things will drop away from your personality. But just pick one of those concepts, focus on it for a little while. I picked truth for a couple of years. I'm now on to courage and beauty. But it doesn't make that much difference which concept you pick, as long as it's taking you towards something. You might as well pick the highest level concept you can. Even if it takes you the rest of your life to get there, you know which direction you're going in. It's setting a direction, so it's navigation. Again, for want of a better phrase. I don't know where all these metaphors come from, really. How useful they are to people, I don't know. But that's the way that I think of it anyway. If you set yourself a direction and you're exploring along the way, so there might be a few detours here and there, but you've got a direction of travel. So why not make it something it might be difficult to get there. It might be difficult to get the courage if you're living in fear. Then generating the courage to overcome or to deal with the fear and anxiety, it's a tricky thing. Fear can possess you. It can take you in all sorts of different places, because you'll manifest it. If you're frightened that somebody's going to die of cancer, that's the thing that will manifest, because it's showing you your fear. If you're frightened that somebody's going to slit their wrists, that will manifest as well. Or you'll see it when it isn't there, or you'll see a version of it that's more extreme than it would otherwise have been. It's difficult to know how much of these things is creative and how much is predestined. I always thought it was predestined to a large extent, but I'm now at the point where I'm seeing how much of it is my own creativity from my own place. And I've got enough experience of life to have seen a few things along the way, and they're not always pleasant, it has to be said. But a lot of them were created from my own fears, and I know that. So I'm very interested in ways to let go of fear, ways to let go of anxiety, ways to let go of frustration. That's why I come back to emotional freedom technique and Sedona method as my two choices for letting go. Be set free fast I've talked about on this show as well, which I found very, very useful. And there's videos for all of these things on YouTube, so you can find them if you do it. Just do a search on YouTube. You won't find them on BitChute. You won't find them on brand new Tube, but you will find them on YouTube. And you will find them on Google. And the key thing, the key piece for me, was when I started letting go of things. And I've been playing with EFT off and on for 15 years. I've played with faster EFT. There's a lot of videos of faster EFT on YouTube, and faster EFT has elements of neuro-linguistic programming in it. It has bits of Be Set Free Fast in it. So faster EFT led me eventually in the direction of Be Set Free Fast, because it contains elements of the assumptions that are in Be Set Free Fast. And the assumptions that are in emotional freedom technique in the traditional way that it's done are slightly different. It comes from Chinese acupuncture. So there's a different philosophical approach in the traditional emotional freedom technique than there is in Be Set Free Fast and in faster EFT. They're reasonably compatible, but there's different language and slightly different assumptions. So you've got to kind of look at these things. The underlying assumptions of who you are is the thing that will manifest your world. So that's the thing. That's the assumption you need to look at. Who are you? That's probably why the Delphic Oracle had know thyself above the door. If you don't know who you are, the world will show you who you are. But you can create your own version. You can manifest your own sense of who you are. If you do it consciously, then it becomes fun eventually. When you get through the fear and all the crap that you've created before. And believe me, there was a lot of crap that I had to clear away. But as I said, I've been doing these things for about 22 years now, and I'm at a place where I'm consciously creating my own life in a very different way to how the mainstream would have you do it. But this is the way that suits me. It's the way that I like, and it's the way that works for me on a small scale. At the moment, on a small scale. Well, I think my next door neighbour's just had his groceries delivered, so I'm going to hear a lot of banging and moving of boxes outside. So yeah, I'm slightly distracted. So let's get back to Neville Goddard again. Let's get back to Neville. Once again, this is from Josiah Brandt's channel on YouTube, and the book is "A Feeling Is the Secret."
Control of your feeling is all important to a full and happy life. Never entertain an undesirable feeling, nor think sympathetically about wrong in any shape or form. Do not dwell on the imperfection of yourself or others. To do so is to impress the subconscious with these limitations. What you do not want done unto you, do not feel that it is done unto you or to another. This is the whole law of a full and happy life. Everything else is commentary. Again, what you do not want done unto you, do not feel that it is done unto you or another. This is the whole law of a full and happy life. Everything else is commentary. Every feeling makes a subconscious impression, and unless it is counteracted by a more powerful feeling of an opposite nature, it must be expressed. The dominant of two feelings is the one expressed. I am healthy is a stronger feeling than I will be healthy. To feel I will be is to confess I am not. I am is stronger than I am not. What you feel you are always dominates what you feel you would like to be. Therefore, to be realized, the wish must be felt as a state that is, rather than a state that is not.
Okay, so what he's saying there is go for the positive rather than avoiding the negative. So for years I was frightened of living in poverty, I was frightened of being homeless, I was frightened of having enough money, and I was avoiding all those things as best as I could. Running to stand still a lot of the time because the fear and anxiety was underneath. So what I've done over the last couple of years is I've shifted. I managed to find the place where the fear came from, which was an important part of it for me, and it came from me having the measles when I was a year old. It's not something that was done to me by anybody. It's not something that was done even by myself. But if you think about it, a one-year-old child is under some kind of attack by an invisible enemy. The world becomes hostile to that child. The world becomes a frightening place. And if you're 1 year old, you're going to forget about it fairly quickly, but it's still in the subconscious, still sitting there as an assumption about the world. And that assumption about the world, if it stays there, will dominate your life. It will manifest things in your life that prove that assumption is true. Now, at the time, it was true. But as soon as you've got over the measles, or whatever illness it is, or whatever the situation is, as soon as you've got over that, that assumption doesn't need to be there anymore. But because you're only 1 year old, you're not going to know that you've made the assumption. I certainly didn't. And it took a long time. It took a lot of digging to get there, but I got there eventually. But I was consciously digging. I was consciously looking. I was consciously searching for whatever it was that was manifesting all these things in my life that I didn't have any I didn't feel like I had any control over, and they weren't the same things that were manifesting in other people's lives. So there had to be something going on, but I just didn't know what it was, and it was weird. It was very weird, but there's been some interesting stuff going on in my life along the way. Some of it was manifest from that sense that I had when I was 1 year old, that the world was a hostile place, that the world was a frightening place. So that is the thing that had to go. That was the assumption that shifted when I got to it, and I shifted it around, turned it around. You go from the world's a hostile place to the world's a supportive place. To the world is supporting me. The world is giving me what I need to live a full and happy life. When you get to that place, then you can start manifesting a life that's rich, a life that's beautiful, a life that's prosperous, a life that's got fun in it. It's happy, it's supportive, it's generous, all of these things. But to get there, that key assumption had to go, and I didn't know I'd made the assumption. So it was tricky. It was a tricky thing. Well, I've repeated a few of these things over the last few weeks, but the imagination creates reality theme is a way to talk about this that's got it's got a different slant to it. It's got a different way of getting in. Okay, thanks, May Street. I'm going to stick to using my phone for the videos because it always works that way. I know it always works. And the laptop's temperamental about it. I don't know why. So I'm pressing all the right buttons and ticking all the right boxes, but for some reason it doesn't want to work. So I'm going to stick to the phone for videos from now on. But at least I've got a system together, even though I forget now and again. Right, so just a reminder, in case you haven't already worked it out, we're on revolution.radio. The station is I'm on Studio B. The station is listener supported, and we appreciate your donations. Nobody takes a wage or anything. Everybody does. Everything that happens here is done by volunteers. So we do need to keep the servers running. We do need to pay for hosting, for archives, and what have you. If you, then you can get there's I think they're free till the end of this month, but if you become a Patreon, you can get access to the archives at certain levels. Have a look and see which level suits you. And I'm just going to give you a few websites where you can find me, a few places you can find me. So I'm on Twitter, and my Twitter handle, or whatever you call it, is Dennis Barker. It's Dennis with 2 N's and Barker with a B. If you follow me on there, you'll find that a lot of things that are on there are similar to this. I've got a radio station set up at radioprojects.co.uk that's got a lot of Neville Goddard on it. It's got a little bit of me commenting, but mostly it's just got things that I've borrowed from YouTube, because I felt like that was the easiest way to put everything in one place at the time. So I put all the things that were working for me in one place as audio rather than as video, so that there's less bandwidth and more people can get access. Well, not more people than YouTube, but more people than I can talk to normally. The other things that I've got going on at the moment are imaginationcreatesreality.live, and I've got cancercuremastermindgroup.com. Those are projects I've had going for the last couple of weeks. That's where I'm putting my energy at this moment in time. And I'm going to keep building things up on those two sites. There's going to be live events on Zoom, I think is the plan. I've put a business model in place on cancercuremastermindgroup.com. I haven't quite got the business model worked out for the other one yet, but it'll probably end up being the same model. And I get one worked out properly, it'll feed over into the other one. But I put a lot of videos on there, and I'm putting a lot of resources into that, and hopefully building up communities that'll support each other. So that's the general idea. I've got some shopping to do later on today, so I've got to work out what I want to do. I might go for a beer. It's getting to 5 o'clock, so shopping first. There's also Sean Atwood and Sonia Poulton's live stream on brand new Tube, which is in about an hour's time. I recommend that. If you haven't visited that, I would strongly suggest that you take a look at it. If you can get it to work, sometimes there's one or two technical issues, but they've got 3 hours of content every Saturday night, and it's interesting, and it's incisive, and it's worth a listen. So I'm gonna just slowly ease back. I've got to do my shopping, and then I might take my phone with me and just have a quiet pint somewhere and listen to Sean and Sonia in the pub and chill out. There's going to be music shortly, and I've run out of things to say, so I'm just going to let the music come in. I'm starting to get a sore throat as well, so I'm going to shut up and just let the music kick in when it does. So thanks for listening. I'm here every Saturday at 11 a.m. East Coast time, 4 p.m. UK time. You're welcome to join me, but thanks for being here, and I look forward to seeing you next week.